Welcome to my classroom. In this video, we are going to discuss the concept of rate of change. So basically, students' rate of change by definition or average rate of change by definition is the ratio of how the dependent variable changes in comparison to the independent variable. So this was the fancy definition, but what does it actually mean in graphical sense of approach? It means the average rate of change is your slope, because in slope, what we do is basically we only compare the change in y and we divide that by change in x. So that is a ratio. We see how the graph is changing when y is changing and compare it to when x is changing. So that is your slope, rise over run. Now, usually the questions or examples that you see on your worksheets, etc., would be that find the average rate of change for an equation, let us say y equals 2x plus 1. Now, basically, y equals 2x plus 1 is already in slope intercept form, where y is your y-intercept, sorry, 1 is your y-intercept, and the slope of the equation is 2. So what does it mean by slope is 2? That means for every change in x, every one change in x, how is y changing? It's moving 2 up. So I have it already graphed, and we can look at the graph of it. Y equals 2x plus 1, and we are looking at the average rate of change is rise over run. So rise is your y-axis. So how much am I moving on y-axis is these two, rise over run. Run, how much am I running is 1. So 2 over 1, let us count again, 1, 2, divided by how much am I changing on x is 1. So 2 over 1, and that gives us the slope 2. Here you can also see the y-intercept is 0, 1, which is right here, and it's crossing at 1 on the y-axis. So let us go back to our work here. In the questions, they will also add that you have to find the average rate of change from, for this graph, from -1 to 1. So what does it basically mean when they put square brackets? That means they are giving you the two values of x's. But what they are not giving you is the two values of y, because you need the value of y, both of the values y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, in order to be able to find out the slope. That means you'll subtract the two y's and divide them by the two x's. So here you got your one x and your second x, but the problem is you do not have your second y and your first y. So let us first set up our work like this, -1 and 1. The thing is, we do not have our y's. So for that, we need to find out the value of y when x is -1. When x is -1, how to find the value of y? We just plug in into the function. Our function is f of x equals 2x plus 1. So f of -1 will be, our new x becomes -1, which is 2 times -1 plus 1. This x is taking the value -1, which is 2 times -1 is -2 plus 1. And that gives us -2 plus 1, -1. That means -1 and -1 is a point on my graph. Let us check if it is really. So -1 and 1. So you can see right here, -1 and -1 is a point on my graph, and which I can use to find the slope or average rate of change. Let's find out the second y also once we know our first y. So let us do it right here. F of x is again the same function, 2x plus 1. And our f of 1 is going to be, our new x becomes 1, 2 times 1 plus 1. 2 times 1 is 2, so 2 plus 1 is 3. Finally, I got my x as 1 and 3 also. Let us check if it's correct by Desmos. X is 1, y is 3. You can see right here 1, 2, 3. So 1 and 3 is a point on the graph as well. All right, we got both of our points, students. We now have to calculate the average rate of change. Remember, whenever your graph is a straight line like that we saw on Desmos, it's always going to be the same slope no matter what points you take. So our slope is going to be m equals y minus y. So I subtract the y's. That'll be 3 minus negative 1 over, let me label them x and y. Both of these are y's and these are x's. And now I subtract my x's. 1 minus negative 1. So minus is the part of the formula right here. There's already a negative, so it changes to 3 plus 1, which is 4. And this one changes to 1 plus 1, which is 2. So 4 over 2, I can simplify that and I can write my answer as 4 over 2 can be written as 2. So you can see that the average rate of change for this question is 2. So I hope I made some sense. I'll do more questions in this. The summarization is rate of change. The square brackets is basically they are giving you two x's, and you have to find your y's from the function. So that is rate of change. Rate of change can be given for any function. You may not have linear function every time, and not all functions have the same rate of change. Only linear functions will have the same rate of change or same slope every time you calculate. So by that I mean, for this function, no matter which points they give me, my answer should always be 2. So thank you for watching. If you find a mistake in my math, please do let me know. And I appreciate your time. Have a great day. Happy learning. Bye.